Hi friends, I'm Allie. Welcome to my channel. I'm the founder of Nala Life Ministries. What we do is we support Christian women who are in abusive relationships or who are out of them. We help them move forward and rebuild their lives. I want to talk to you about a topic today that's pretty near and dear to my heart. It's about what are some of those things that you should do when you leave an abusive situation. Kind of like your getaway plan. What are your getaway plan, your recovery plan? It's not going to be super detailed, but it's just going to be the beginning of in crisis, what do I do? And the reason we want to go through some of these things is because when you leave an abusive situation, you are at high risk and you're in one of the most vulnerable seasons of connection to that abusive person than you ever were before. And why is that? It's because that person is losing control over you, losing control of the situation. And often we see an escalation in abuse. We see maybe an escalation in severity, frequency, stalking behaviors, harassment. So you want to have some of these safety things in place so that you're still as safe as possible after you leave. All right, number one, you need to have a safety plan. It's important to have a safety plan in an abusive situation, but also out, just like I mentioned, because your risk increases when you leave. So what are some of those things of a good safety plan? You want to have a list of those important people in your life that could be there for you at 4 a.m., at noon, at 10 a.m., whenever a crisis could arise. Who are those people that would drop things easily for you, pick up the phone, get you to a shelter, those things that you may need? Who are those people? Write their name, write their contact information, tell them they're one of your safety support people, and make sure your kids know too who those important people are in your life. Number two, you want to have the actual plan itself. So for example, I'll give you an example of a plan. Let's say I've left and I'm staying with my friend Mary, and I noticed that one day I get home from work and my ex comes to the door and starts banging on the door and trying to get in and causing a really big scene, and I feel really threatened and I need to get away. So my safety plan could be when he shows up unannounced and I feel threatened and he wants to hurt me, I'm going to gather my kids. I'm going to gather some important belongings. Usually this is a getaway bag. We'll talk about that next. Our getaway bag, my kids, we're going to go to a safe spot in the house, and then we're going to call the police to come help us deal with the situation. So that's a simple example of a safety plan. It's going to look different from situation to situation, but have some of those scenarios mapped out that you can talk to your kids about and that you know what to do. Write them on a piece of paper underneath your contacts, and make sure that you know what your steps are. Lastly, have some of those professionals that you're connected with and those emergency numbers also written on your plan. So the police, 911, hospital, social worker, advocate, therapist, have some of those people on there as well. Make copies of your safety plan, hand them out to your friends, your family, those support people. Make sure they know their roles, and keep it somewhere safe. So somewhere where your ex won't find it. I know you've left, but maybe he goes through your car still one day, or maybe, I don't know, your kids get a hold of it and he finds it. You just never know. So you want to keep it somewhere safe and with at least one of your supportive people so that you have a backup. Number two, let's talk about that getaway bag I mentioned. So I think I kept my getaway bag for, I don't know, at least a good year in the trunk of my car. So that getaway bag is going to have a change of clothing. It's going to have important documents or copies of those documents, like your passport, your social insurance number, birth certificates, those type of things. What else? Maybe snacks too. Just those things that you need. Hey, when I got to leave in an emergency, what are some of those things that I'm going to need to take with me if I can't go home for a day or 2 days or a week? Right? So I kept that in the trunk of my car. You can do that as well. You know you're the safe places, or you can keep a bag maybe at your Auntie Jeanette's house. It really depends on your situation and where you feel comfortable. Keep it someplace good that you can get it in a hurry. Next, consider, hey, do I need a restraining order, a no contact order? Do I need a parenting order? So first, let's go through the restraining order. Let's say buddy, like I mentioned in the first scenario, he keeps coming to my place where I'm staying now, harassing me, stalking me. I think I need a restraining order because I feel very unsafe. So I'm going to have to go to the courts and apply for that. And you know what? It's a good idea to have documented all the incidents to back up your need of a restraining order or no contact order. Depending where you live, these terms can change. So really think about, is this what I need to stay safe? If you need help applying for one, there should be people like legal counsel or a social worker can help you with your next steps moving forward. So think about if that's right for you. Often, if you have children, the judge will put your children on the no contact order, which is important, and I'll get to that next. Think about parenting order. There's a big fear when you leave of, hey, could he just come and take the kids and flee and I never see my kids again? You have to remember, unless you have a different arrangement, you each have equal rights to the children. So a parenting order will help outline who has the day-to-day care of the kids. Does he get the kids on the weekend, or does he get the kids for a couple of hours every week? You want to go again, you have to go to the court, and the judge will help decide what is the best arrangement here for these kids. So if you get that in place, it'll give you some peace of mind moving forward of what does my care for the kids look like, what makes me feel most safe. Keep in mind, it may not always go the way as planned. Like, I'll just be upfront with you. I've seen parenting orders where, the abuse was really severe, and maybe he even abused the kids and he still has visiting rights. Where I'll speak for where I am from, they want the children to still have a relationship with both parents. Okay, you have to keep that in mind. I know it can be very frustrating if you've gone through this process, and like I said, it won't go as planned, but hopefully it'll eliminate some of those fears of, oh, he's just going to come and take them and leave the country, or whatever those fears are going to be. At the end of the day, people have said to me, Ali, this is just pieces of paper. Restraining order is a piece of paper. A parenting order is a piece of paper. In theory, I guess, yes, you're right. It's a piece of paper, but it's documentation, is a record keeping. If he breaks these conditions, there's consequences to pay. It's not a perfect situation. It's not a perfect solution, but it's better than nothing in most situations. So I encourage you to really think if this is something you need to do. Now, if you have a restraining order, the reason I said it's important to make sure your kids are on them is because you need to think about, do I need to tell my kid's school? Do I need to tell my employer as well? A little bit of my situation in case he comes around trying to get a hold of me, right? So if he comes, let's say the kids are on the restraining order and he comes after school to try and pick them up, but he's not allowed to, it's not his time, it's not his day. He can't do that, okay? So the school will most likely ask for a copy of the restraining order. They will make sure that whoever's picking up the kids, who's ever in contact with the kids, is the right people. Okay, so think about, do I need to tell my school a little bit of what's going on so that my kids are safe? Same with your employer. Does your employer need to know what's going on as far as this person can't contact me, this person, is a threat to me? If he comes to my workplace, please tell him I'm not there, I'm busy, whatever you want them to know. Please don't be afraid to tell your employer a little bit, enough information that they know the situation so that they can help keep you safe. Next, think about, do I need counseling? Do I need therapy? I think I was in counseling and therapy, let me think, years, probably like a good 3 to 4 years at least. It helped me process things. It helped me feel normal. Like you still feel really abnormal. And I felt like I was the only person in the world that was going through this. Was my emotions normal? Was my thinking processes normal? Was I a bad Christian? Like, you want to unpack all these thoughts that come up, all these emotions that are sometimes so overwhelming. You want to unpack that with somebody who can tough love you, somebody that could, be emotionally removed and say, hey, maybe don't beat yourself up. You've just come from a lot of trauma. Okay, so think about who you'd like to see. If you want to see someone, get someone to help you research therapists. How much do you need to pay? If you're strapped for money, try and find somebody on a sliding fee, on a sliding scale that will charge you based on your income. Because you could be on income support right now, right? And maybe can't afford a lot. When I first started seeing a therapist, I think I paid $20, $10, even $10 at times. I simply just couldn't afford it, and so that was really, really helpful for me. Lastly, you may feel like you want to return. You may feel like you still love him, and you probably do. That's a whole nother thing to unpack, but you have a trauma bond there, And it's normal to feel like this is too hard to be by myself. This is too hard to raise the kids by myself. I'm scared. If I go back to the devil I know, I feel better than trying to rebuild my life step by step, unpeeling the layers like an onion. It's normal to feel that way. So get some of those supportive people on speed dial, phone them when you feel that way and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling and thinking. And I'm hoping some of them will tough love you and say, that's normal, but do you really want to do that? How is life for you? Was that working for you? You know, come over, let's have coffee. Let's get through the feels together. But I don't want to see you hurt again. So don't shame yourself. Don't feel like a weirdo if you get those feelings. They're normal. It will, as the months go by, as the years go by, it'll become less and less, and you'll find you again. All right, if you have any questions, I'm going to pop my email on the bottom here. You can always email me. You can follow me on any socials and ask any questions as well. I'll keep doing these videos, and I'm hoping you find some value in rebuilding your life and feeling safer. All right, thanks guys.